सभी हमारे एस्टीम डिग्निटरीज से निवेदन है कृपया मंच पर आएँ। श्री स्मिथ शाह जो कि प्रेसिडेंट हैं ड्रोन फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडिया के, उनसे भी निवेदन है कृपया अपना स्थान ग्रहण करें। चाय के बाद आप सभी का स्वागत है। वी आर इंडियन एट हार्ट, ग्लोबल इन स्पिरिट। हम दिल से भारतीय हैं लेकिन आकांक्षाओं से ग्लोबल हैं। वी ऑल आर कमिटेड to realize the vision of Honorable Prime Minister, making India a global drone hub by 2030. सबसे पहले ड्रोन फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडिया के प्रेसिडेंट श्री स्मिथ शाह से हमारा निवेदन है कि कृपया स्वागत संबोधन दें। Kindly deliver welcome address.
First of all, I would like to welcome all our esteemed dignitaries on the dais. A dais as powerful as this showcases the support that the government wants to give on this technology. And just before this session, we saw the Honorable Prime Minister mention so many things on how drones are being used, and he himself also saw a few drone demonstrations and tried his hand on how to fly a drone. So it's very welcoming and very warm to see the entire conversation about drones changing from one aspect of it being only a security risk to drones now becoming the most important tool for a lot of areas, not just strategic but also commercial. Without wasting too much time, I would want to start the discussion for the day. So for all the dignitaries who are in the tea session, I would want to invite them back to our very important and the first technical session for the day. For our guests on the dais, I would request each one of you to maybe mention your specific intervention on the drone technology. And after that, if it is okay with you, with all of your permission, maybe I can ask you one or two questions. And I believe it will be very good for the audience as well, for this to be a much more informal and much more candid discussion about drone technology and the vision to promote it. Rather than just a simple address which probably people would have listened to on multiple platforms. So with that, maybe we can go in a sequence. First, I would want to invite Secretary Science and Technology, sir. Maybe if you want to start and mention your few interventions on drones, and then maybe I'll follow up with a few questions, please.
Should I come there or here?
That is.
Greetings to all of you. Hope I'm audible. I'm delighted to be part of this important event today, where Honorable Prime Minister has launched one of the largest drone mahotsav for us. DST has been pushing very hard on these technologies for a long time. I'm happy to share that while on the 26th January after Republic Day, we will have Beating the Retreat on 29th. The funds given by DST under Nidhi program to a startup in IIT Delhi has enabled all of us to have the magnanimous fest of showing over 1,000 drones in the skies. While this has been an important milestone for all of us, we have been working very closely with the drone industry. We are also trying to connect with international players. I'm happy to share with you that the Drone Fest is just a beginning for a big show. We've also been playing an important role with the Panchayat Raj Ministry on how drone technologies can be used in surveying the entire country. We are happy that the new policy has been launched by our Minister, and I'm sure drone technologies will play a very important role in these sectors. Besides our own activities, we're also partnering with other line ministries on seeing how this could happen. Technology Development Board is playing an important role in enabling the startups to get into this sector and play an important role. While we know drones play an important role in defense sector, I'm sure Dr. Satheesh Reddy on the stage will have more information on that sector. But we are focusing on how we could really use these drone technologies on vaccine delivery, precision agriculture, and also many other sectors of even mapping the entire country. I do believe that partnership with Line Ministries is going to be an important event to see that the drone industry flourishes. While it has been shown that this is just a beginning, but the kind of employment creation drone industry is going to create for all of us is be phenomenal. Many startups are coming up with new technologies, new designs of the drone vehicles. I'm sure this is a great beginning. I wish the event thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your initial address. We would now move to Shri Arun Kumar, sir, DGCA. Sir, if you would want to share your initial thoughts, please.
I will talk about the regulatory framework, basically as it exists today. So first I will go the international. I will have a look at the international framework which is in existence. So for ICAO, we go to ICAO. ICAO proposes two approaches for regulation in drones and remotely piloted aircraft system. So the first is obviously if you have international in-flight rules operations where ICAO SAPs will be applicable. So all the manned aircraft system regulations will be applicable if you are flying to international destination with IFR. Then for other cases, for other situations, they have a toolkit, what they call model UAS regulations, and they give you 3 levels of risk-based categorization. This categorization is low risk, that is called open category. Open category is primarily visual line of sight, operating in a standard conditions, for example in daytime, or where the buildings are not there, obstacles are not there. And for that you don't need any operational approval as we are doing today. But all UA has to be registered. So this is called open. Then the other category is called specific. It is a medium risk. This is BB loss. Then you have to go beyond visual line of sight. Then in this, the regulations become slightly more stringent. And the third category is high risk operation, which we will be eventually calling drone taxi, passenger drones, etc., etc. In this, again, the entire ICAO, all the annexes, relevant annexes apply. Now we go to EASA, the European agency. They also have the similar kind of open, specific and certified categories, which maps to the ICAO categories, and they also have the same kind of thing. Federal Aviation Administration, US, they call it category 1, category 2, 3, 4, but you can broadly map them also to open, specific and certified. Then DGCA. DGCA story is very interesting. 2014, I remember we issued a public notice saying nobody will fly a drone, except the government drones, private people were sort of restrained from flying a drone. That was DGCA notice on 7th October 2014. So that is where we were. From there on, I think for next 3 years we didn't do much. Then after, in 2017, we made an amendment in our aircraft rules. And we started that unmanned aircraft system, one subset we created, and so we provided the legal framework, and in which we said, as per this rule, you will have 2 requirements. One will be UIN, unique identification number, and unmanned aircraft operator's permit. So these 2 things was prescribed in the aircraft rule. Then came the car, the game changer, 2018. This was one civil aviation regulation requirement which was published by DGCA. They talked of visual line of sight operation, and one word which came here was NPNT, which is very important. No permission, no takeoff. So I will just show you from there where have we reached now. So no permission, no takeoff, and obviously unique identification number, air operator permit, training from approved FTO, etc., etc. Then the another interesting thing happened in this car was categorized, this nano, micro, small, medium, large, which we talked today. So not very scientifically done. Nonetheless, we had these categories and we started exempting nano, etc. from certain regulation. Then the many things that was there was prior import clearance from DGCA, then ETA from WPC wing, manufacturer certificate of compliance, UIN for each drone, remote pilot training for approved FTO, security program approval from BCAS. The important point, security program approval from BCAS, security clearance from MHA. So all these things were there, so it was reasonably complicated, and so obviously it did not lead to much growth in the sector. One new thing that happened in around 2019, that paperless and transparent regulation. We thought of the digital sky platform, and we wanted to make that NPNT, no permission, no takeoff, feasible, possible. So this happened in 2019. Thereafter, certain models of drones were provisionally accepted by DGCA that were no permission, no takeoff compliant. From there, a drone directorate was also carved out in DGCA, and finally the US rules, first US rules came. That came in 12th March 2021. Again, it was reasonably stringent, and it talked of authorization of importer, manufacturer, trader, owner, operator, training organization, drone port, etc., etc. Unique prototype identification, test flight can be carried out, authorized test site, etc., etc. So again, this also did not lead to much celebration or much outcome. Based on that, this was also not accepted by the government. And then finally, the game changer that came for open category, I go back to ICAO and YASA categorization of open, where not much regulation is required. This came through Drone Rules 2021, trust-based regulatory approach applicable, and it was raised to 500 kilo. So what we are allowing today in India is 500 kilo. 500 governed by, beyond that, of course, aircraft rules and all will come. All drones need to have UIN, one specific requirement. Then we talked of remote pilot. They should have undergone training from the authorized RPTO and have obtained that. You saw in the Prime Minister's thing, remote pilot certificate were issued. So all this was brought in. No operator permit for green zone. Green zone from no permission, no takeoff. We allowed, no permission required. So that is the change. NPNT becomes no permission required. You can fly wherever you want in the green zone. In yellow zone and red zone, there are conditions for flying. So finally, this new drone rules have kicked in. Then remote pilot license. I will talk a little bit about that. We have 23 RPTOs which are generating and making remote pilots. First, we'll talk of RPTO. How do you? We have made it also very simple. What are we looking for? We are looking for 2 instructors, 2 drones, 2 simulators, like that, and some small 300 square feet area for classroom training, open space, etc., etc., and 1 training and procedure manual. If you have all this, you are converted into a drone training school. Now the syllabus is equally important, because then what are we teaching? 5 days course where we teach basic principles of flight, ATC procedure, aerodynamics, meteorology, drone maintenance, risk assessment, etc., etc. So whole thing has become very simple. As has been said earlier also, 23 drone pilot training schools are there in existence at this point of time. The capacity is said to be about 1,000. And 5 days course, and we have also started conducting surveillance of this pilot training organization. One I will name, even Bombay Flying Club, we had done some, they had only 1 drone and certain things were amiss. We'll take action against them, that's a separate story. Now another thing that has been very simplified is type certification of drone. So as you are aware, QCI has been onboarded, as they say. And thereafter they have some testing agencies, and those testing agencies carry out the test, etc., for certification of drone. And with those test results and all, when they approach DGCA within 15 days or so, DGCA is to carry out type certification. One type certification has happened or in the final stage. The other one will also be shortly happening. So I'm closing here on this. Basically what I wanted to tell you is that this open category is completely in sync with the global standards, and so there is nothing amiss as far as we have done, and we are matching what the whole world is doing. But next category, whenever we talk of manned systems, for example, drone taxi, etc., we will have more stringent regulations to ensure that nothing untoward happens. And this is the regulatory framework that has evolved over a period of time. As you are aware, it's a nascent industry, so even regulation is evolving, and with times to come, will settle down. So my last submission is that as far as the government is concerned, regulation is concerned, we have traveled a quite a long distance from NPNT to no permission required. Now it is for the industry to deliver and match the aspiration of the people of this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Any question, I'm there.
Thank you so much for inviting questions as well, sir. This showcases the quick journey that we've built on the drone regulations and the comparison with the global framework. We now move to Dr. G. Satheesh Reddy, Chairman DRDO, for his initial remarks.
Very good afternoon, everyone on the dais and off the dais. Coming to the drones, the applications are variety and types of drones which are required are quite large in number as far as the variety of the drones are concerned. Broadly, you can classify it as today in the drones as micro and mini. Primarily, it is based on the capability of the drone as far as the range is concerned, or the endurance is, or the payload carrying capability. Broadly, you can define like this. What is the type of payload it can carry, and what is the weight it can carry, and what is the range, and what is the endurance it can have is one thing. Second, whether it is for the planes or for the altitudes. Let's say you take an high altitude application. This is one thing primarily. When you look at it, there are multiple technologies which are required here. One is for the airframe, the materials, mostly today the composite materials and the processing and fabrication technologies. Second, the motor, right from magnets onwards, the total the motor capability and motors development and fabrication, manufacturing technologies. And then most of the drones are battery based. So the batteries, the various capacities of the batteries, the size and weight of the batteries, and what required for these applications is one important thing. Some applications where you need a higher endurance and higher load capability, then you need to have the engines with the different fuels what are required for it is another thing. So a lot of work is going on in this, in the laboratories, in the industry, and working with the industry, trying to develop varieties of things. Another important thing here becomes is what is the type of payload you require. Particularly when you talk about the defense applications, various surveillance payloads which need to be highly miniaturized and then use it in these drone applications. Whether you talk about an optical camera, whether it is visual or IR cameras or electronic surveillance or communication related surveillance or image intelligence related surveillance, these are all the types of payloads which are required, which need to go onto these drones, which are actually need to be developed in a highly miniaturized, low weight, low volume is one of the important things what needs to be done. Now today needs to be extended to the swarm applications. One is of course developing the swarms, the complete autonomous swarms, the logics, the intelligence, the artificial intelligence, what needs to be put into these swarms. And then with these specific payloads, how these swarms need to work is one more application where we need to work. So these are all the varieties of applications where we are trying to work with multiple industries, lots of startups who are trying to develop this and trying to handhold and work with them through various mechanisms like technology development funding and other mechanisms or various development contracts which we are trying to work with the industry. Other side of it is when you have the rogue drones and when you have a security threat, the counter drone system is another very important thing which we need to have for the security of our various installations and other things. So this is one thing which actually the country has developed these technologies and came out with some of the technologies and which have been tested. And these technologies have been transferred to the industry, and industry got orders from various agencies in the country or the armed forces, and industries are trying to manufacture them in the large quantities and trying to supply to these applications, both the counter drone applications or the surveillance drone applications also in large numbers. I don't want to get into too much details into the applications of these drones into the defense, but then, as I said, in the counter drone applications, lots of technologies and techniques are emerging. Firstly, in the detection, various technologies where you are able to detect, at what range you are able to detect, and what is the size of the object, and can you detect it at a larger range is one thing. Naturally, as the technologies in the drones are getting developed, the drone manufacturing and drone technologies wise are trying to see that they have a very low RCS, which means a radar cannot detect sort of a things, or an IR camera cannot detect. These the technologies on the drone side developing. On the other side, when you are saying a counter drone, you are still able to detect them is one important thing which you need. Then, how are you able to detect the communication signals, and how are you able to jam them? What are the navigation technologies? How are you able to counter those navigation technologies? Simple things people talk about the RF jamming related, whether it is for the communication or for the satellite navigation based systems. But then people are migrating to varieties of other technologies, image based navigation or other technologies which are being used. So you need to develop those technologies also for countering those type of new technologies which are coming. Another important thing is, how do you actually counter the swarms is another important thing. So multiple technologies are emerging, whether it is the killer drones is one of the child drone applications, or you have a EMP is one of the technologies which people are looking at, or shock waves. And these are some of the technologies which are coming in this area, which are just coming out in the world, and also in our country also. These technologies are emerging to counter these swarm drones which will be coming. Probably mostly they could be even weaponized, and so how to take care of them, how do you actually kill them, how do you neutralize them at far off distances. So these are some of the technologies which actually the country is working. The Defense R&D is working with various industries to develop these technologies. As they are every day coming out with new technologies, you are trying to work on those things with various industries. Lots of industries are working on this, trying to support them, and still need to expand this and need to work with more and more industries to develop new technologies and new systems and new drones and counter drones for the varieties of applications which are coming up today. So industries who are there here can interact with us and come out with new ideas, or the systems which are being looked for, new systems. We can work together and try to develop state-of-the-art systems. Thank you. Jai Hind, Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir. We now move to Dr. Ajay Kumar, Secretary, Ministry of Defence, for his initial remarks on the use of drones across the entire spectrum of.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Distinguished members on the panel. मैं केवल 3 मुख्य बातें कहना चाहता हूँ. पहली बात ये है कि पिछले साल अगस्त 2021 के पहले जो भी आप ड्रोन इंडस्ट्री से जुड़े हुए हैं वो कल्पना भी नहीं कर सकते थे कि आज इस तरह का प्रोग्राम भारत में संभव है. और ये संभव हुआ इसलिए कि सोच में एक बदलाव आया. और मैं रक्षा मंत्रालय की तरफ से कह सकता हूँ, पहले हमारी सोच थी कि अगर हम किसी को ड्रोन बनाने देंगे तो वो ड्रोन कोई अनजान व्यक्ति वो ड्रोन बनाएगा, वो हमारे खिलाफ यूज़ हो सकता है. इस सोच में बदलाव आया. ड्रोन तो आएगा ही और बनेगा ही. प्रश्न ये है कि क्या हम इस ड्रोन को खुद अपने देश में बना सकते हैं, और इसलिए नई ड्रोन पॉलिसी में एक 180 डिग्री टर्न अबाउट हुआ और उस नई सोच में के बाद जो नई पॉलिसी आई और उसके बाद जो हमारे स्टार्टअप्स ने, इंडस्ट्री ने और सभी लोगों ने मिलके जो एक बड़ा ड्रोन के संबंध में इतनी सारी चीज़ें इतने छोटे समय में कर दी, उसके लिए मैं सबसे पहले सिविल एविएशन मंत्रालय को बधाई देना चाहता हूं कि उन्होंने इतना बड़ा नई टेक्नोलॉजी रिफॉर्म ड्रोन के तौर पे लाए, और साथ ही साथ इससे जुड़े हुए सभी लोगों को, स्टार्टअप्स हैं, इंडस्ट्री हैं, DRDO जैसे गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, जिन्होंने पिछले साल भर के अंदर, साल से कम के समय में इतना बड़ा चेंज देश में लाए। आज डिफेंस के क्षेत्र में मैं कह सकता हूँ कि जो हमारे ड्रोन इंडस्ट्री ने किया है उसकी चर्चा केवल भारत में नहीं, विदेशों में हो रही है। US का एयरफोर्स रिसर्च लैब हमारे पास आया और उन्होंने कहा कि हमें भारत की एक कंपनी के साथ, स्टार्टअप के साथ जो स्वॉर्म में काम कर रहा है, शायद आप बहुत सारे लोग उसको जानते भी होंगे, उनके साथ टाई अप करना है, उसके लिए परमिशन चाहिए। सोच के देखिए, US हमारे देश में आता है और कहता है हमसे परमिशन चाहिए कि वो भारत की कंपनी के साथ काम करना चाहता है। मेरा पहला पॉइंट केवल ये है कि ये जो बदलाव आया है, आज हम मानते हैं कि ड्रोन टेक्नोलॉजी में जब बढ़ावा होता है तो डिफेंस को, और बहुत सारे स्टार्टअप्स डिफेंस के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, सप्लाई कर रहे हैं, तो उससे हमें फ़ायदा होता है। और आने वाले समय में जो अरुण कुमार जी ने बात की कि हम आने वाले समय में और बड़े ड्रोन्स को परमिशन देंगे, उस बदलाव के लिए भी हम डिफेंस की तरफ से उनका पूरा सहयोग करेंगे। ये मैं पहला पॉइंट कहना चाहता हूँ। दूसरा पॉइंट मैं कहना चाहता हूँ, जो डिफेंस के पे हमने हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट्स ड्रोन के संबंध में कई हज़ार करोड़ की होती हैं। मुझे लगता है आने वाले, अगर मैं 10 साल का जिक्र करूं तो कोई बड़ी बात नहीं होगी, लगभग 1 लाख करोड़ के ड्रोन्स डिफेंस में ज़रूरत पड़े। ये हर रेंज के ड्रोन्स हैं, हर कार्य के लिए यूज़ होने वाले ड्रोन्स होंगे। मेल की भी ज़रूरत पड़ेगी, हेल की भी ज़रूरत पड़ेगी, और साधारण लॉजिस्टिक्स मैनेजमेंट के लिए, सर्वेलेंस के लिए उन तरह के ड्रोन्स की भी ज़रूरत पड़ेगी। तो एक ये बड़ा अवसर है। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में हमारी डिफेंस एक्विजिशन काउंसिल ने पिछले महीने ये निर्णय लिया है कि हम कोई भी ड्रोन जो देश में बना हुआ नहीं होगा उसको नहीं खरीदेंगे। इसलिए ये मार्केट हमारे अपने ड्रोन कंपनीज, इंडस्ट्री रिसर्च ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के लिए है। ये एक बहुत बड़ा डिसीजन है, एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज भी है हमारी इंडस्ट्री के लिए कि आप आके जो डिफेंस की रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं, जो दुनिया के सर्वश्रेष्ठ हाईएस्ट लेवल की टेक्नोलॉजी की ज़रूरत पड़ती है, उसमें आके आप काम करें। और ये एक बहुत बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी भी है, क्योंकि जो है अगर हम ये कर सकेंगे तो ये केवल हम इंडियन आर्म्ड फोर्सेस के लिए नहीं, हम दुनिया में एक्सपोर्ट करने के लिए हमारे पास बहुत बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी है। क्योंकि दुनिया की कोई भी मॉडर्न मिलिट्री ड्रोन्स के बगैर काम कर पाएगी या काउंटर ड्रोन्स के बगैर काम कर पाएगी। हमारे पास जितनी भी फॉरेन डेलीगेशंस आती हैं वो सब के सब पहले ड्रोन्स में इंटरेस्ट दिखाती हैं। पिछले ही महीने जब यहाँ पे यूके के चीफ ऑफ डिफेंस स्टाफ आए हुए थे, तो जब उन्हें मालूम पड़ा हमारी ड्रोन इंडस्ट्री के बारे में, तो उन्होंने अपने एक सीनियर रिप्रेजेंटेटिव को बेंगलोर भेजा और यूके के CDS के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव के जो कमेंट्स हैं बेंगलोर जाने के बाद, अगर आप उन कमेंट्स को पढ़ेंगे तो आपका सबका सीना गर्व से फूला नहीं समाएगा। वो इंडियन डिफेंस स्टार्टअप इंडस्ट्री के बारे में कह रहे हैं। तो इसके लिए एक्सपोर्ट की बहुत बड़ी मार्केट है, उसे हमें यूज़ करना चाहिए। और तीसरा पॉइंट कह के मैं बंद करना चाहूँगा, वो ये है कि हम लोग DRDO के TDP के तहत, आईडेक्स के तहत स्टार्टअप्स के साथ काम कर रहे हैं और हमारा अनुभव रहा है कि ट्रेडिशनल रिसर्च के मुकाबले स्टार्टअप की स्पीड बहुत तेज़ और बहुत कम लागत में काम हुआ है। आईडेक्स में तो हमने देखा है हमारा मैक्सिमम असिस्टेंस केवल 1.5 करोड़ था पहले, और उस 1.5 करोड़ में लोगों ने उससे 10 गुना 20 गुना काम रिसर्च का प्रोजेक्ट्स को महीनों भर के अंदर में करके दिखाया है। मैं यहाँ पे चर्चा करना चाहूँगा, इस बार आप लोगों को याद होगा बीटिंग रिट्रीट में एक ड्रोन शो हुआ था, 1000 ड्रोन का शो। अगस्त सितंबर के पहले दुनिया में 3 ही देश थे जहाँ पे इस तरह का इतना बड़ा स्वॉर्म ड्रोन शो हो सकता था, रशिया, चाइना और US। और इंडिया में जो भी इस तरह का ड्रोन शो कर रही थी वो रशियन कंपनी थी, उसका टिपिकल प्राइस लगभग 2 करोड़ रुपया पर शो था। मुझे यहाँ बताने में बड़ा गर्व है, और मैं प्रोफेसर सविता यहाँ पे हूँ तो कृपया हाथ उठा, देयर यू आर। यू नो, IIT दिल्ली के बॉट लैब नामक स्टार्टअप से हमारा संपर्क हुआ। ये बात सितंबर-अक्टूबर मंथ की है, और उस समय हम इस तरह का शो करना चाह रहे थे, उनसे बातचीत हुई। वो स्टार्टअप उस समय मेरे ख्याल से 100 ड्रोन का शो करता था। हमने कहा हमें 1000 ड्रोन का शो चाहिए। उनके पास ड्रोन बनाने के पैसे नहीं थे। डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी सेक्रेटरी साहब चले गए हैं, उनकी मदद से उनको 2 करोड़ का असिस्टेंस दिया गया ताकि वो 1000 ड्रोन बना सके। और विदिन 3 मंथ्स उन्होंने वो कर दिखाया जो दुनिया में अभी तक हमें मिला के केवल 4 देश कर पाए हैं। आप ये देखिए कि हमारे देश में तो अगस्त तक रोक थी ये काम करने के लिए, लेकिन दुनिया के बाकी देशों में तो रोक नहीं है। मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा, ये दर्शाता है कि हमारे यहाँ के स्टार्टअप्स, हमारे यहाँ के टेक्नोलॉजी में यंगस्टर्स की क्या स्पीड है, क्या कैपेबिलिटी है। इसलिए मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि आने वाले समय में ड्रोन्स हों, काउंटर ड्रोन्स हों, इस ओपन सेक्टर के तहत बहुत तेज़ी से आगे बढ़ेंगे। मेरा पूरा उनको मेरा माय बेस्ट विशेस फॉर देयर ग्रोथ एंड डेवलपमेंट, एंड आई लुक फॉरवर्ड टू बी पार्ट ऑफ द जर्नी। थैंक यू।
Thank you so much, sir, for committing to be a part of that journey. We would now want to welcome Shri Rakesh, Asthana, Commissioner of Police, Delhi. Sir, you've been in an environment where it's the most reddest of the red zone for flying drones, but you also would want to fly drones. So from that perspective, maybe if you would also want to share a thought.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am here to present the point of view with regard to use of drone from the security point of view, and I have been asked to represent the security forces as well as law enforcement organizations of the country. To begin with, I must tell you that I have worked as DG BCAS and DG BSF before serving as Commissioner of Police Delhi, and while I was in BCAS, I was heading the task force to devise and the specifications, to ascertain the specifications for the counter rogue drone system in India. And we worked with various agencies and various organizations, including IIT, and devised or laid down certain basic specifications for that. When I was DG BSF, the external security was the prime importance, and we worked for using the drone technology to counter the drones which are coming from across the border. And I'm happy to say that we associated ourselves with the Agni mission. And today only one BSF officer has mentioned that our idea of weaponizing the drones to counter the other side has been very successful, and they have recently brought down one drone using the weaponized drone by the BSF. So it's a big thing which we have achieved in that area. So far as urban policing is concerned, mega city policing is concerned, drone technology has a vast use. Traffic management, crowd management, law and order scenario, crime scene management, everywhere the drone technology can be used, should be used. And I must tell you that keeping this thing in mind, Delhi Police has decided to establish a drone vertical or drone detachment for all these purposes, and we are working very seriously for that. And I hope in next 2 to 3 years' time, we will have a full-fledged drone vertical for Delhi Police, which will look after not only this traffic management or crowd control or surveillance, photography, videography, but also we have plans to use drones for carrying men from one place to the other. Like, I'll tell you this small example. While doing the bandobast, VVIP bandobast, sometimes we have to put our men on the high-rise buildings, and we have to keep a surveillance from the high-rise buildings in the surrounding areas. Transportation of men through drones is possible, because just now I have seen in this exhibition, a company has developed a system to transport people who are injured, require medical attention in the border areas to the ground. So if that is possible, this is also possible. It may sound absurd today, but I think next 5-10 years' time, this will be very useful for the law enforcement agencies to use the drone technology. I'll add to what the Defense Secretary has said. He has mentioned about that drone show which they had on beating the retreat day. I was associated with the security arrangements, and the team which was supposed to present the show wanted a window of say 30 to 40 minutes when the jammers should be off. SPG said we cannot switch off the jammers for more than 15 minutes. So there was a tussle. And SPG was not ready to take the responsibility, naturally, because Delhi Police is responsible for the security of all the VVIPs in the city. So naturally it fell upon me to take a call. Without blinking an eye, I said, okay, we will do it. Though we didn't have any counter-rogue drone technology, and we said that whatever time they want, we will allow the switching off of the jammers in that area, and only I and my officers and men know how those 30 minutes have passed, because we were very much scared that any rogue drone entering in the scene and attacking the VVIPs. So I must stress this point that we are in urgent need of counter-rogue drone technology in the country. All over the country, all the state police forces, law enforcement agencies, security forces require this, whether it is for the VVIP security or for countering the drones of the enemy nations. So, as Defense Secretary has said, the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister has given a push for this, I hope that the startups should come up with a foolproof counter-rogue drone technology, because nowhere in the world we have a foolproof counter-rogue drone technology. So this is a big challenge for all the startups, and I hope that we will come up with certain solutions shortly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your thoughts. We would now move to Professor Ajay Kumar Sood, Principal Scientific Advisor to Government of India, to share his thoughts about the drone technology interventions.
No? Yeah, it's working. You can hear me? Yeah, great. So, first of all, let me start by saying it's truly a privilege to be a part of this historic event. Now, the aspiration to make India a global drone hub by the year 2030, as has been mentioned repeatedly today, requires a multi-pronged approach. So in my brief presentation or brief discussion now, I would like to just bring out few points where our office has played some role and continues to play an important role towards this aspiration. So let us start with the first point, that for a strong and vibrant industry to flourish, as has been mentioned, the first thing to ensure is ease of doing business. There are no two ways about it. And it is so heartening to see that the first and foremost step was the liberalization of the drone regulation by Ministry of Civil Aviation in August 2021. So I would just say that our office played a role in determining the contours of the new rules so as to be conducive and all-inclusive. So the team took all the best practices derived from leading economies to facilitate global competitiveness by Indian industries and startups. And as you all know, that going further, the airspace maps available digitally really revolutionized these drone operations. Second, the regulations and incentives, you would all agree, are two pillars of the overall mechanism and must complement each other. So in our quest for drone supremacy, we would be soon faced with the challenge of Indian standards for drones and their subsystems, sensors, payloads, as was mentioned, and the communication stack. Now, to be truly Atmanirbhar, there is a need to develop our own standards so that every part we make in India is of globally acceptable quality. This is very important, and we need to make a note of it in the beginning of our journey on this path. Now, our PSA office has paid urgent attention to this aspect and is enabling discussions with various stakeholders to clearly lay out a roadmap with clear timelines. The third point, which I would like to bring out, that our office understands that defense and security comprise crucial and varied drone applications, a reality which has already becoming possible and has profound implications. So in order to help the defense and security agencies exploit the most out of drone based technologies, the Agni mission, which was mentioned just a few minutes back, one of the 9 missions of Prime Minister's Science, Technology, Innovation Advisory Council, being implemented by PSA office along with Invest India, work with field teams at forward defense locations at the line of control and border outposts in Rajasthan, collaborating with BSF field commanders and headquarter leadership alike to synthesize operational scenarios. And Indian drone technology stacks were developed for BSF, which clearly defined the technical characteristics the drone itself must possess. In order to carry the sensors of choice, for example, AI-enabled machine vision system, for the right duration and at the right altitude, work was done and being coordinated. Similarly, I must point out, this is very recent, the Agni team also worked with National Disaster Response Force (NDRF) units in power boats, demonstrating remote underwater submersible drones equipped with sonar and artificial intelligence. We have supported NDRF team experimentation with rescue drones capable of towing drowning victims to safety. Again, I must bring out the collaborative aim has been to upgrade capability and in doing so unlock opportunities for Indian drone startups while keeping the user in mind. And this is the role we play in this domain. The next point, which is an important point, is the opportunity for if we have to do this aspiration to make India as drone hub, we need to have dedicated corridors, namely drone hubs, to support the drone ecosystem, encompassing all facets of the ecosystem life cycle, starting from research to development, prototyping, testing, and scaling up manufacturing. So we are also supporting the initiative, the creation of the first of its kind facility at Dholera Special Industrial Region in Gujarat. The Gujarat government has been extremely supportive and enthusiastic and wants that this is realized at the earliest. So the Dholera drone hub would also have adequate measures and resources for incubation of startups, entrepreneurship, and skill development. So subsequent to Dholera, we are very sure that few more test-oriented facilities would be created across the country, for which discussions are already on. And lastly, I should not skip this. None of this will mean anything if we do not build the capacity to sustain the momentum the drone industry is witnessing in recent times. Human resource of excellent quality with motivation and dedication, you would all agree, is the final ingredient in this entire game. So capacity building has to be started right from the schools and colleges. So while the certification of drone pilots, which was announced, has already begun, we would require human resources such as engineers, technicians, scientists, and analysts to fully harness this power of drone technology. So drawing insights from the huge success, which some of you know, of Meher Baba Challenge by the Indian Air Force, our PSA office is working on an academic challenge for the development of drones for real-world scenarios, which would soon be announced. So I will not take more time, but take this opportunity to thank all of those who have been encouraging the PSA office for really delivering in this very important mission. And I should take this opportunity to thank my team at PSA office and Invest India, namely we have Shirish Panda, we have Lieutenant General Sharma, Dr. Vasudeva, Mudit Narayan, and from Invest India, Rahul Nair and his team. And this is very crucial to acknowledge people who are behind the scene and continue to really deliver. So thank you all again, and I'm agreeing, I'm completely confident that India will deliver in this important mission and we will move ahead. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. We now go to the last but not the least esteemed dignitary for the day, Shri Rajiv Bansal, Secretary Civil Aviation.
My most distinguished panelists on the stage, friends, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Ministry of Civil Aviation, let me begin by first expressing my gratitude to each one of you who are here with us today. Our today morning's inaugural session, which was graced by the Honorable Prime Minister and the presence of a hall full of about 2,000 persons we had in the morning, and an exhibition hall which is equally full and has about, I think, more than 100 exhibitors today, is tantamount and witness to the great enthusiasm that is there in promoting drones. Clearly, as the Honorable Minister for Civil Aviation said, drones is an idea whose time has come. In fact, when Honorable Prime Minister was going around the exhibition, he had, in the program slotted about 20 minutes, but actually he spent more than 30 minutes. And he was amazed by the enthusiasm, by the wide variety of applications, by the wide variety of types of drones which are on display. And one of the things which he remarked in his speech also was that he was amazed by each startup, each proprietor saying that this is a drone which is made in India. And this is exactly the point that the Defense Secretary also mentioned, that with the imposition of restrictions on import of drones into the country, there is a huge possibility and huge opportunity for Indian manufacturers to make drones in India, for India, and not only for India, for the world. It was also said that there are three pillars for growth of the drone industry. One is the policy support, and I would feel that the journey of the last 10 months since August 21, when the new drone rules were published, and a series of steps thereafter in the last 10 months have been truly remarkable. It has been truly mind-boggling, the pace at which things have worked. We have been able to launch our first production-linked incentive scheme, and it was really heartening to note the response that we got. It is evident that several manufacturers are augmenting capacity in this field and are waiting in the wings to enter this sector. The second pillar of growth of drones is incentives, and the third pillar is on the demand side. And my learned panelists who are here with us today are representing the government and have shared with you how the government, various wings of the government, be it the security agencies, be it the defense forces, be it the regulatory agencies, be it the science and technology fraternity, be it the defense research establishments, how they are coming together in this initiative to promote drones. I think this is one initiative where the collective effort of the government, of the regulators, of the industry, of the academia, of the startups is ensuring that the collective energy will lead to a greater good for mankind itself. And I feel very confident that we will, in the near term, not even in the long term, actually emerge as the drone hub of the world. I seek your cooperation, support in this journey to become a drone hub, and we in the Ministry of Civil Aviation will be with you all along this journey. Thank you so very much.
Sir, with your permission, I would want to invite Rahat Kulshresht, who is the chairperson at Drone Federation of India, to deliver the vote of thanks and then give out a special memento that we have for all of you.
Thank you, Smith. Very good afternoon, everyone. A very, very special thanks to everyone on the stage, all the dignitaries for sparing your time and talking about the drone industry. It's been a really, really fascinating experience for us to see the drone industry from where it has come from 2014, as we were talking earlier, to today, where we have such a large event which is graced by the Prime Minister himself. 2022 is definitely going to be a landmark moment for this industry. I think the government has very clearly now shown the support and shown the level of involvement, both from the use cases and from the policy perspective, and special compliments to the civil aviation for such an extended effort to get the regulation to where it is. And I think I would now urge the industry today to be able to really spend the next 2 days spending time really, this vision of trying to create the drone hub of India is really going to come down to now the industry trying to understand what all these use cases are and understand from all of our dignitaries over here how we can really get to creating the drone hub of the world. So thank you once again, everyone. This has just been the first session and it's been a really exciting one. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Raji. As a token of our immense respect and to honor our guests on the dais, we want to present them memento. राहत जी, आपसे निवेदन करते हैं कि हमारे सभी dignitaries on the dais को memento present करें. Memento यानी स्मृति चिन्ह. आज के कार्यक्रम की सुखद यादें हमारे मेहमानों के हृदय में हमेशा के लिए अंकित हो जाएं. इसके लिए हम उन्हें स्मृति चिन्ह भेंट कर रहे हैं. और आज के ओकेजन में ड्रोन से अच्छा स्मृति चिन्ह और क्या हो सकता है. Thank you so much all the dignitaries. हम हमारे एस्टीम डिग्निटरीज़ का हृदय से धन्यवाद करते हैं आज उनकी उपस्थिति के लिए. आप सभी अपने अपने जगह शीर्ष पर हैं और कितनी व्यस्तताएं हैं आपको ये हम सभी जानते हैं, लेकिन स्टिल आपने समय निकाल कर व्यस्तता के बीच में से भी हम सब के बीच में अपने विचार व्यक्त किए, अपने विचार साझा किए. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.